Hi there, my name is Alicia Slaughter and I'm here with you today to show you how to make lacto-fermented vegetables. I am a holistic health coach and a yoga teacher, and I cannot stress the importance of adding fermented vegetables to your diet. So today I'm going to start off by covering three things. One, what is the science behind lactofermentation and how does it work? Two, what are some of the benefits of fermented vegetables for your body? And three tips to keep in mind as you are making your fermented vegetables. So back to the science, how does this work? Vegetables have a bacteria on them called lactobacillus. And as the vegetables and this lactobacillus goes through their fermentation process, it turns into lactic acid, which feeds off of the lactobacillus feeds off of the sugar in the vegetables and turns into lactic acid, which helps to preserve the vegetables, which is why you can keep it on your countertop for so long. So there's a couple things that you need to keep in mind there. One is there cannot be any oxygen in this process. Which will break down the process. So the lactobacillus has to be in an oxygen-free environment to then feed off of these sugars to create the lactic acid. So that's how the fermentation process works. And during that process, beneficial bacteria are created. And that is all the good bacteria that you get from eating the fermented vegetables that feed your body. So number two, why should you care about healthy bacteria, good bacteria, and eating more fermented foods? So number one, your body is made up of 90% bacteria. And there's a balance of good bacteria and bad bacteria in that mix. And the name of the game is that you want more good bacteria in your body than you want bad bacteria. Because if the bad bacteria gets to be more than the good bacteria, obviously you could probably foresee that would compromise your health. So if you have more good bacteria in your body, it helps to support digestion, it helps to support your overall health, your immunity, your mood. It's helped to break down your food so that you can get more nutrients from the food that you eat. It helps to break down toxins so that those toxins can more easily pass through your body and not affect you. So a lot of reasons why eating fermented foods, getting probiotics is super important. Three tips to keep in mind as you're making your fermented food. So number one, back to the fermentation process, you need to create an environment that is void of oxygen. So as you fill up your jars with the brine mixture, you want to make sure that they're always submerged under that water, or else you're going to get mold. Number two, you want to chop up all of your vegetables into be about the same size. And that will help to ensure that the vegetables ferment at the same rate. And number three, the environment that you put your ferment in should not be in direct sun, and it should also be room temperature. So if you have the warmer the environment for the ferment, the more quickly it will ferment, and the colder, the longer it takes. So you want to make sure that your brine covers your vegetables. You want to have everything chopped up to be the same size, and you want to have it in a warm environment that is void of direct sunlight. So step one is to chop up all your vegetables. And another tip here is that for your carrots, for example, you don't want to take the skin off. You just want to clean them really well, because a lot of the bacteria for the carrots actually sits in the skin. So once you chop everything off, you have your jars that are really nice and clean and dry. I also use the Mason top kit here, where they have these nice tops that help to keep the oxygen out of the process, but also keeps the oxygen out, but then allows some of the fermentation air to come out of the jar. So it keeps oxygen out of the inside and then allows some air to escape. Otherwise, you have to create a top or burp it to let some of the pressure out as it ferments. So really super easy. You're going to chop up your vegetables, place them in your jars. You're going to create your brine mixture. And the brine mixture ratio, for the most part, it will vary by vegetable, but for the vegetables I have here, it's about a 2% brine mixture. And the way that you can accomplish that is about 1 cup of water to 3/4 teaspoon of salt. So you pack I have some pre-packed here. You pack all of your vegetables, and then I have some water. And so for 1 cup of water, we are going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So there's 1 cup. And then you add the salt. So I have about a half a teaspoon here. And I'm going to do 1.5 of these because this is what I found earlier. And then if you want to add any kind of other spices, you can add some chili flake if you'd like. I like to add chili flake. Oops. I have some garlic inside there. So this one I'm just going to keep a chili flake and garlic. And since I didn't pre-make my brine mixture, these tops are also really handy just to mix everything up. So you take a mason jar, little lid here. You put this little nipple contraption from the mason top kit, and then I just give it a little shake to mix it all up. I put my finger over the top and then give it a little shake. So that one's done. And then here's the cauliflower. So I didn't put any garlic in this one, but I am going to add some turmeric. So for that one, I'm going to measure out my water. So this is 1 cup, 2 cups, maybe 1.5 cups. Let's see what happens here. You just want to cover it up with water again, so all the way to the top. And then, so that was about 1.5 cups. So I'm going to put a teaspoon and a half. So the good thing about this is that it doesn't have to be completely exact. It's really easy. And for me, it's pretty hard to mess up. So again, I put the mason top, twist top on. I have my mason top kit little thing here. I give it a little shake to mix up the salt in the water. And then that one's done there. Oh, I forgot my turmeric. But it's really simple. I'm going to add about a teaspoon. And then the thing with turmeric is that it has that really nice anti-inflammation component called curcumin. And to activate the curcumin so it's more bioavailable for your body, you're going to want to add a little black pepper. So I'm going to add a little black pepper there. Again, I don't spend a lot of time measuring things out too much. I just know the basic ratios. So again, 1 cup water to about 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Give it a little mix. So that's turmeric, black pepper, ferment with cauliflower. Now I have these green beans. I really like adding a little bit more chili pepper to the green beans. So chili pepper, I have some garlic in there. You mix out your water. So 1 cup, let's see how that goes. And this one, there's some little green beans sticking up there. So I'm gonna have to be careful with this one. The other thing that comes in the mason top kit, and I will place a link for that after I post this, are these little glass weights. So if you have any worries, you can also place the glass weight in there to hold everything down. If you're worried about it sticking up and being in the oxygen. But since I've done this a couple times and I know after a couple days this will settle, I know that this is going to be fine. So again, I put about a cup in there. I'm going to put 3/4 teaspoon of salt. And then I give it a little shake. Put my top on, put my ring on, and then you give it a little shake. So it goes pretty quick once you get the hang of it. So I have a little bit more vegetables here. I'm going to make a couple more, just finish up my vegetables. So show you how I do it. More cauliflower. Maybe this one I will make without the turmeric. And then to pack it, just like this. This is also a really good thing to do if you know that you have a lot of veggies and you're not going to get to eat all of them, so you don't waste them. You can ferment them and they will last a really long time. So this one, I could probably stick a couple more in there, being really mindful that the water's going to 1 cup. One cup. Let's see. I might move some of these just to make sure that it stays out of the water. Stays in the water. Here we go. Okay. And about 1.5 cups or so there. I will do a 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Put my topper on here. Give it a little shake. You can see all the things I've made. Alrighty, so I have all my ferments. I have some stuff left over. I'll probably grab some other jars and fill it up and just continue the same process of packing everything in, adding the spices that I want, adding some garlic, filling it up with water, making sure it's going to stay covered, and then putting my lids on. So that's really it. After this, I stick it on my counter, remember, somewhere where it's going to be out of direct sunlight and where it's going to be warmer, so you don't want it near any draft. I like to stick mine right next to my oven so it gets the benefit of the heat from us cooking. Sometimes people will stick it in an oven inside the oven so that it doesn't have any drafts and it can stay a little bit warmer there, obviously without the oven on. And then I wait for about 5 days, and at 5 days I'll sample it and see how it's going. And it's really done when you say it's done. So you can open it up, take a little taste, and if it tastes good to you, or you would eat it then, and if you want to let it go a little longer, you can let it go a little longer. These can really stay on your counter for quite a long time. And you'll know for the most part when something's gone bad. If you open it up and you see any mold, I would definitely toss it. And if you're familiar with eating fermented foods, you can also tell when something's gone bad. So trust your gut. And as my mom always said, when in doubt, throw it out. But practice makes perfect. You can ferment quite a few things. This is the brine method. And if you're doing softer vegetables, especially like cabbage or greens, they have enough of their own moisture inside of them that there's a different process for that, where you chop it up really thin, you add a little bit of salt, and then by squishing it, you actually brine it in its own juices, but that's for another video. I hope this helped and inspired you guys to make more fermented foods. If you have any questions, please let me know. But I hope that this inspires you and gets you making and eating more foods. Have a really great day.